students? Today we will see about the brain. Okay. Yesterday I had told you this brain is present in the cranium of the skull, and it is protected because of this cranium of the skull. Beside this, it is also covered with the membranous covering. That membranous covering is called as meninges. Yesterday we had seen three layers, three meninges are present in the body of human being. They are the dura mater, arachnoid matter, and pia mater. So dura mater, that is tough layer. It is protective in nature. The second layer, it is called as arachnoid matter. This arachnoid matter, it is made up of reticulate connective tissues, and it forms spider web-like appearance. Then the innermost layer, which is thin and delicate, that is the pia mater, which is attached to the brain and the spinal cord, and it is made up of blood vessels. It will act as a nutritive. Then there is space present between the dura mater and the arachnoid mater. That space is called as subdural space, which contains some serous fluid. And the space which is present between the arachnoid mater and pia mater is called as subarachnoid space. That subarachnoid space contains cerebrospinal fluid, which is called as CSF. And this CSF, I had told you the functions of CSF yesterday. It absorbs mechanical shocks and injuries. It maintains the pressure between the body and the brain. And the next one, it will not allow the brain muscles to be dry. And it will act as a respiratory, digestive, as well as excretory. So these are the functions of CSF that we had seen. And we had already discussed about the brain. Brain, it is a hollow structure, and it contains cavities. That cavities are called as ventricles. There are 4 ventricles present in the human brain. This brain contains near about 10,000 million neurons are there, and it matures at the age of 6 years. That these things we had already discussed. Now let's see the first part of the brain, that is the forebrain. Forebrain consists of 3 parts. They are the olfactory lobe, cerebrum, and the diencephalon. So these are the 3 parts: olfactory lobe, cerebrum, and diencephalon. So firstly, we will see about the olfactory lobe. Olfactory lobe, if we will see from ventral side, अगर हम ventral side से देखते हैं, तो we will see that a pair of lobe is present. This pair of lobe is nothing but the olfactory lobe. So from dorsal side, we will not be able to see it. We have to see it from the ventral side. Okay? So here, this olfactory lobe contains the swollen part, which is called as olfactory bulb, and the narrow part, that is called as olfactory tract. Okay? This olfactory lobe contains a cavity. That cavity is called as rhinoceros. That cavity is called as rhinoceros. This olfactory tract ends into the temporal lobe of cerebrum here. Here is the temporal lobe of cerebrum, and this olfactory tract it ends into the temporal lobe of cerebrum. Okay, so this olfactory lobe actually it is not well developed in the human body. It is poorly developed. Why it is poorly developed? Because there is no need of such function in our body. So what is the function of it? So the main function of this olfactory lobe is the it controls the sense of smell. So smelling power that is sufficient for us to take a smell of different things, but it is more developed in the dogs, and so dog can able to take the smell of so many different things. Okay, so this is about the olfactory lobe. As it is not well developed, so we will not discuss it more about this. So here again, it consists of olfactory lobe consists of two parts: olfactory bulb and olfactory tract. So swollen part is the olfactory bulb. The narrow part is the olfactory tract, which will end into the temporal lobe of the cerebrum. It contains cavity. That cavity is called as rhinocele, and main function is the it controls the sense of smell. Okay. Now the most important part from this forebrain is the cerebrum. Now let's see about the cerebrum. The structure which I had drawn here, that is the cerebrum. This cerebrum, it is the largest part of the brain. We are about 85 to 90% of the weight of the brain is occupied by this cerebrum. The weight I had already discussed. If the weight of the human brain is 1,350 grams. Okay. So here, this cerebrum, it is the largest part of brain. This cerebrum, it gets divided into two equal halves. Why? One groove is there like this. So that is called as median longitudinal septum. Median, due to median longitudinal septum, this cerebrum, it gets divided into two equal halves. But actually, there are no two brains. They are not totally get separated from each other. They are still connected with each other. Some horizontal.
आज चिमटे दे छोटा वाला.
Mute your mic first. आपका माइक म्यूट करो जल्दी से. Here, horizontal band is there. ठीक है? So horizontal nerve band is there. This is the horizontal nerve band. Which is called as corpus cavernosum. Corpus cavernosum. Okay. So this is the nerve band which will connect this to hemisphere, the cerebral hemisphere. So this is also cerebral hemisphere. As it is cerebrum, it is divided into two equal halves. Na? So, that will become half. So that's why it is called as hemisphere. cerebral hemisphere. Okay, the outer part of the cerebrum, it is called as cerebral cortex. Cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex, it is made up of gray matter, and the inner part of the cerebrum is called as cerebral medulla. This cerebral medulla is made up of white. So here, in this the cerebral cortex, it is the outer part, and on this outer part, we will see some elevations and depressions are there. ये जो part दिख रहा है, देखो यहाँ पे ये elevations दिख रहे हैं, ये depressions दिख रहे हैं. So these elevations, they are called as gyrus. One is gyrus. So many are there, no? They are called as gyri. And this depression, that is called as sulcus. As so many sulci are there. So here, sulci. Okay. So this cerebral cortex, it contains so many elevations and depressions, which we call it as elevations, that means gyrus. Gyri are there, and depressions, they are the sulci. So the pattern, the number of this sulci gyri, that will be different in different individuals, in different human beings, and that's the number and the pattern of this sulci gyri. It will depend on the intelligence of the patient, or vice versa. यानी हम ऐसा बोल सकते हैं कि जिसके ब्रेन में बहुत ज्यादा sulci gyri रहेंगे, तो उसकी grasping जो रहेगा, memorization जो रहेगा, that will be more, because it will increase the surface area. अगर बहुत ज्यादा elevations और depressions रहेंगे, तो surface area will be more. As the surface area will be more, so definitely जो grasping रहेगा वो ज्यादा रहेगा, memorization ज्यादा होगा, thinking ज्यादा होगा. Okay. और इसीलिए जो अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन थे ना, अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन के ब्रेन में the weight of the brain of the Albert Einstein was 100 gram less than the normal human being's weight. जो normal human being का मैंने 1350 ग्राम बताया है, उससे 100 ग्राम less था, and it was 1250 grams. But Albert Einstein जो थे, तो he was a genius person, because so many sulci and gyri, they were present in the brain of the Albert Einstein. ये जो है तो उनका डिसेक्शन किया गया था ब्रेन का आफ्टर द डेथ ऑफ हिम, तो इसलिए ये जो है तो इन्वेंशंस हुआ है. ठीक है, ये हो गया हमारा इसके बारे में. अब हियर इन ईच सेरेब्रल हेमिस्फीयर one cavity is there, like cavity is present. That cavity is called as ventricle. So I had already told you how many ventricles are there. So there are 4 ventricles in the brain. So out of these 4, 2 are present in the cerebrum. So, they are called as either lateral ventricle or first and second. We can give first here, second here, no matter. So they are called as lateral ventricle. Okay? These lateral ventricle, they will secrete cerebrospinal fluid, and they will open into the third ventricle. The third ventricle we will see now after some time. So they will open into the third ventricle. So that opening is called as foramen of Monro. Foramen of Monro. This is about the this ventricles. अब यहाँ पर जो है तो we had seen due to this median longitudinal septum is cerebrum, it get divided into two equal halves that we had seen. Beside this, it also contains three septums, and because of it, each cerebral hemisphere it get divided into four lobes. So let's see about it. Okay? So here the name of these lobes they are given on basis of the bones of skull bone. जो skull bone की bones है, here frontal bone is there, here parietal bone is there, here occipital bone is there, and here temporal bone is there. तो इसी से जो है ब्रेन के लोब्स के भी नेम्स दिए हुए हैं. There are four lobes present in each cerebral hemisphere: frontal, parietal, occipital, and the temporal. Frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal. Due to there are यहाँ पे जो है तो वापस से सेप्टम है और वो सेप्टम की वजह से जो है ये फोर लोब्स में ऐसे लोब्स बोले तो ऐसे अलग अलग पार्ट्स. ठीक है. तो लेट्स सी the septum which is present between the frontal and the parietal lobe, that is the central sulcus. Then the sulcus present between the parietal and occipital, that is the parieto occipital sulcus. After that, the sulcus which is present between this parietal and the temporal, that is the lateral sulcus. Again, I am telling you. So here frontal lobe is there, here parietal lobe is there, here on the back occipital lobe is there, and here is the temporal. So the sulcus which is present between this parietal and occipital is called as central sulcus. Then the sulcus which is present between this parietal and the occipital, here, so parieto-occipital sulcus is there, and the sulcus which is present here between this parietal and the temporal, that is called as lateral sulcus. As I have told you, the cerebrum is the largest part of the brain, so definitely it must have some important function, and it is a complicated part. As it is a complicated part, so definitely if the distribution of work will be in the proper way, the proper functioning will be done. And because of it, there are some functional areas present in this cerebrum which will do a particular specific function. So that we will now see about the functional areas and the functions which they will perform. If you want to take a screenshot, you can take so that you will be able to understand. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, as I had told you, there are four lobes. So let's see the functional areas which are present in each lobe. Okay. So in the frontal, in this frontal lobe, three areas are premotor area, motor area, and the associated area. These are the three areas which are present in the frontal lobe. This premotor area, it will control all the voluntary functions going on in the body. Voluntary movements, हमारी इच्छा से जो movements होती है उसको कंट्रोल करेगा premotor area. This motor area, it will control all the involuntary movements going on in the body. And this associated area, it is responsible for memorization, decision making power, judgment, communication, etc. So this association area is very important, because it is responsible for memorization, decision making power, judgment, communication, and all that. So here, Broca's area is present. Broca's area. Okay, so this Broca's area, what is the function of this Broca's area? So it will convert thought into speech. जो भी मेरे माइंड में थॉट आ रहे हैं अभी, that going to convert into speech, जो मैं आपसे बात कर रही हूँ, बराबर? तो ये जो फंक्शन है, that takes place in this Broca's area, and definitely for speech, lips, tongue, vocal cord, jaw, these are responsible to movement of all these jaws, tongue, then vocal cord, that will control by this Broca's area. Okay, the next is parietal. In the parietal lobe, sensory area is present. Sensory area. Okay, so sense of what? So sensation of touch, pressure, pain, and temperature, that get controlled in these sensory areas. So here, Wernicke's sensory area is there, which is responsible for controlling of sensation of touch, pressure, pain, and the temperature. Do you understood? Okay. Now the next lobe, that is the which one? Occipital lobe. Let's see what is the function of occipital lobe. So occipital lobe contains only one area. That is the visual area. So visual area is responsible for vision. Okay, that is responsible for vision. So if we see any particular site or person or animal, so that get memorized. So that will memorize into this visual area. तो जो भी memorization रहेगा साइट का, विजन का, that will be present in this visual area, which is present in the occipital region. The next lobe is remain. This one is the frontal, parietal. The last lobe is present, that is the temporal. So in this temporal lobe, main areas present. Smelling बहुत अच्छी खुशबू आ रही है, लगता है मम्मी ने ये बनाया है. अरे ये जो स्मेल हम तो देखने के भी नहीं गए ना, अभी तो हम यहीं पे खड़े हैं, लेकिन अगर कुछ खुशबू आई और हमने एहसास किया, या अगर मोगरे की खुशबू आ रही है या कोई परफ्यूम की आ रही है, दैट इज नोन टू अस, वो हमको पता है क्योंकि ये मेमोराइज हो चुका है. ये मेमोराइज कहाँ पे हुआ है? olfactory area which is present.
वॉइस नहीं आ रही है बराबर.
हेलो, ठीक है. अब यहाँ पर जो है तो टेम्पोरल लोब में स्मेलिंग यानी olfactory area is there. Which is responsible for memorization of different smell. अब हमने देखा तो नहीं, लेकिन हमको पता चल गया कि मोगरे की खुशबू है या किसी पर्टिकुलर जो है फूड की खुशबू है, तो as it is get memorized, it is memorized in the olfactory area. Okay, so that is responsible for smell. Second, आज अगर घर में किसी और ने सब्जी बनाई है या आप किसी पर्टिकुलर होटल हो, तो आप बोलोगे कि यहाँ पर जो है तो आज तो टेस्ट चेंज हो गई, बिकॉज दैट टेस्ट विल बी मेमोराइज इन द बॉडी. तो हमारे ब्रेन में मेमोराइज है, तो दैट विल बी मेमोराइज इन द gustation area. Gustation area, that is also called as taste area, and this taste area is responsible for definitely taste. Different tastes are memorized in this gustation area. ठीक है. अब एक ही सेंसेशन बचा है और वो कौन सा है? हियरिंग का. तो हियर अगेन ऑडिटरी एरिया, auditory area is there, and this auditory area is responsible for hearing. किसी की आवाज जो है तो वो आवाज मेमोराइज जो रहेगी, so that will memorize into the auditory. Do you understood, beta? So these are the different functions of cerebrum. So as it has so many functions, so it is distributed in these 4 lobes so that they will perform this function in a proper way, and because of it that will get managed. So in frontal lobe 3 areas are there: premotor area, motor area, and associated area, or association area is also called. Then the premotor area will control all the voluntary functions going on in the body. Motor area will control involuntary functions. Associated area will control memorization, decision making power, judgment, communication. Here Broca's area is there, which will convert the thought into speech, and it will also control the movement of the jaw, tongue, lips, and vocal cord. Then parietal lobe contain only one area, that is the sensory area, which will responsible to control all the sensation of touch, pressure, pain, temperature. So here Wernicke's sensory area is there. Occipital lobe contain only one area, that is the visual area. which is responsible for the sight or the vision. Then the temporal lobe contains olfactory area, which is responsible for the smell. Gustation area, which is responsible for the taste, and the auditory area, which is responsible for the ear. If you want to take a screenshot, you can take. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So do you understood this one? These are all the functions of cerebrum. As cerebrum is very important part. So many functions are going on. वैसे तो ब्रेन का हर पार्ट जो है तो इम्पोर्टेंट है, लेकिन स्टिल जो है तो सेरिब्रम में अगर हमें इंजुरी होती है तो पर्सन कैन सर्वाइव, बट वन पार्ट ऑफ द ब्रेन इज देयर. If it will get injured or it will get damaged, the person will die immediately. So that I will tell you tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Okay. So see, this is all about the cerebrum. Here, cerebrum, it is supplied by cerebral artery. It's called as carotid artery. Now, diencephalon. This part, it is present just above the midbrain. Midbrain के ऊपर में diencephalon present है, and definitely यहाँ पर जो है तो diencephalon, I had told you yesterday कि it get divided into 3 parts. So the third ventricle is present in this diencephalon. It contains cavity. That cavity is called as diocele or third ventricle. So first ventricle, which was present in the cerebrum. Second ventricle, that was also present in the cerebrum, that open into this third ventricle. Okay. So that open into the third ventricle, this is considered as the third ventricle. First, second, third. So here this opening is called as foramen of Monro. Foramen of Monro. Okay. And this third ventricle, it will open into the fourth ventricle. So here this opening is called as Keter. Okay. Diencephalon. It is actually जो है तो cavity like part which is present just below the lobes of cerebrum. Cerebrum के नीचे में present है diencephalon, and it is like a cavity. So this cavity, अगर if we consider this cavity as a roof, तो रूम में क्या होता है? रूफ होता है, वॉल्स होती है, फ्लोर होता है. The roof of this diencephalon is made up of epithalamus. Then the walls, lateral wall of it, they are made up of thalamus, and the floor of this diencephalon is made by the hypothalamus. So epithalamus forms roof of the diencephalon. Beside this, it contains anterior choroid plexus. Anterior choroid plexus जो है तो वो present है कहाँ पर? तो epithalamus में, which will secrete CSF. It will secrete CSF, and again here one gland is present, which is called as pineal gland or pineal body. So this pineal gland or pineal body, which is the endocrine gland, that endocrine gland is present into this epithelium. So these are the functions of it as well as the parts of it. Okay. Next is thalamus. So thalamus, it is called as relay center. As you know, in Nagpur is the relay center, or as from south the train comes and it goes into either east or west or north. तो इस तरह से ये thalamus जो है, it is also relay center. It will receive messages from lower part and it will send it towards the cerebrum, or it will take the messages from cerebrum and it will send it towards the lower part. So that's why it is called as relay center, or we can say it is also called as the gatekeeper of the cerebrum. The gatekeeper of the cerebrum. So, which messages should be goes on the towards the cerebrum or not, that will get decided by this thalamus. So this thalamus, it contains nerve band. Nerve bands are there. The next one is the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is most important. This hypothalamus, as though it is the part of brain, so it is very important for because it secretes hormones. Okay, so it will secrete hormones because it contains some neurosecretory cells. Neurosecretory cells are there which will secrete hormones, and these hormones will control all the functions of pituitary gland, which is the master endocrine. And here we will not able to see from the ventral side because the pituitary gland is present in front of this hypothalamus. And again, optic chiasma is present in front of optic chiasma. What is optic chiasma? The optic nerve, they just cross like this and they will form the optic chiasma. So here, whatever different functions or feelings which we have, like we may have love or affections towards any person, yeah, emotions, grief, happiness, hunger, thirst, all these feelings, they are controlled by this hypothalamus. Then the most important function I had told you, it secreted hormones which will control all the functions of pituitary gland. Again, the water metabolism, fat metabolism is controlled by this hypothalamus. How? So, regulation of temperature or the water metabolism, that is controlled by hypothalamus. So when the temperature will be more, so that time the sweating will be there to maintain the body temperature, and during that time it will reduce the urine output. In winter, as the temperature will be less, so that time our urine output will be increased, so that do you understood about the forebrain? Yes or no? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today I want to stop here, and tomorrow I will take midbrain and high. But wait, I just want to take your attendance. Okay.
मैम हमको स्क्रीनशॉट लेने दीजिए.
आप ले. अच्छा, 1 minute. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
You complete your notes so that it will be convenient for you, because there are some terms which are very difficult. So you go through it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.